A lot of people think this would never happen, and it has, and it does, and people aren't taking action, and this will happen again if no one does anything.
Survivors of the school shooting in Parkland, Florida are speaking out. We'll hear from students and parents across the country.
A foiled school shooting in Whittier leads to 2 arrests. We'll speak to the security guard who tipped off police.
And the next USG president and vice president are here live to talk about their goals for next year.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
Seeing my school, my community, and how much they're taking charge, and now they're in Tallahassee, I really do think we're going to keep fighting until there is a change. We're not going to stop, because this is going to happen. It's going to happen again if we don't do anything.
A Parkland, Florida high school student is visiting LA as nationwide protests take place over gun violence. Students from Stoneman Douglas High School are calling out lawmakers for not acting on gun control as high schoolers protest nationwide. Good evening, I'm Taylor Edgell.
And I'm Leslie Ambris. 1 week after 17 students and staff members were killed in Parkland, Florida, one survivor is speaking out here in Los Angeles.
We're going to keep fighting until there is a change. We're not going to stop, because this is going to happen. It's going to happen again if we don't do anything. Like, I would have never thought that an 18-year-old would come in and shoot my classmates and people in my school and put my school in danger, but it happened, and it will keep happening if we don't do anything. We're not going to just sit here and not try.
Danny Tylum is a junior at Stoneman Douglas High School. She's visiting family in California. Almost 2 decades ago, her 2 older brothers survived a shooting at the North Valley Jewish Community Center in Granada Hills.
I get a text from my daughter, "Mom, I don't want you to worry, but there's an active shooter at my school." And all I can think about is, not again. That's all that went through my head, is this cannot be happening again.
Tylum's mother says she's a supporter of the Second Amendment, but still wants Florida to strengthen its gun laws.
Students from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School have emerged as the new faces of the gun control movement.
This is an injustice to our country, because not only of the lives lost, but also in the loss of confidence in our government. We lose confidence in our government because we are told that nothing can be done time and time again, and we are tired of hearing that, because we know there can be change in this country. Never again should a tragedy of this caliber happen in this country. Never again.
Thousands of student activists marched today to Florida's state capital of Tallahassee. More than 100 of them are survivors of last week's shooting. The protesters are demanding changes to gun laws, including a ban on assault-style weapons like the one used to kill 17 people.
We want gun reform. We want common sense gun laws. We want stronger mental health checks and background checks to work in conjunction. We want a better age limit. We want privatized selling to be completely reformed so you can't just walk into a building with $130 and walk out with an AR-15. So this is to every lawmaker out there. No longer can you take money from the NRA. No longer can you fly under the radar doing whatever it is that you want to do, because we are coming after you. We are coming after every single one of you and demanding that you take action, demanding that you make a change.
President Trump invited survivors to the White House, where he heard suggestions about how to curb gun violence. He listened to the emotional stories of students and families whose lives have been forever changed by mass school shootings.
I was reading today that a person 20 years old walked into a store and bought an AR-15 in 5 minutes with an expired ID. How is it that easy to buy this type of weapon? How do we not stop this?
Students throughout the U.S., from Miami to Washington, D.C. to Cincinnati, also rallied today in support of stricter gun control measures. Students are planning a national school walkout on March 14th and a March for Our Lives protest on March 24th. Meanwhile, sheriff's deputies in Broward County, Florida, have been ordered to carry rifles on school grounds. A student from El Camino High School is under arrest, accused of threatening to commit a school shooting. This is the second serious threat at El Camino High School this week. Authorities found ammunition, 2 handguns, and 2 AR-15 rifles at the student's home. His brother, who is an Army veteran, has also been charged. The arrest happened after a security officer at the high school overheard the student's threats.
Students were going back to class. I overheard them mention the threat, went up to talk to him to confirm exactly what I heard, and then I got administration involved and we discussed it all together, and he confirmed what I had heard, the threat, that within 3 weeks there would be a school shooting on campus.
Authorities are asking the community to report any suspicious comments or activities to avoid future shootings. A few weeks ago, a shooting happened at Salvador Castro Middle School. Officials have since made changes at nearby Newmark High School to make sure students are safe.
They started checking backpacks to just ensure that everybody was coming in clear of weapons and any other hazardous things that can affect us. Today, actually, they implemented a random check, so they've been random checking everybody in our school.
The LA County Sheriff says there is no simple solution, but that good parenting, reaching out to people in need of help, and limiting access to guns can also help.
Residents in the community of El Monte feared being arrested today by immigration agents. As Annenberg Media's Aton Wallace shows us, that's because ICE is conducting raids across the state.
Dozens of pro-immigrant demonstrators gathered in El Monte today, just outside of the Northgate Gonzalez supermarket.
We don't want ICE here.
Organizer Janet Herrera Buccio is talking about the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, known as ICE.
A lot of our community here who are undocumented have heard about this and they're really scared.
As it turns out, ICE will not raid this store today after all. That's according to this press release just handed to me by the store manager. But community members here say they are still scared because ICE raids across the state have not stopped. In fact, the LA Times reports ICE raids are up in California. 3 weeks ago, ICE raided 77 businesses in Northern California, and in Southern California, more than 100 people were detained in the last week alone. For its part, ICE maintains it's just carrying out the law. In a statement to Annenberg Media, the agency said, "Federal law requires employers to verify the identity and work eligibility of all individuals they hire. ICE is the federal agency responsible for enforcing these laws to protect jobs for U.S. citizens."
That is just not appropriate and it's not acceptable.
But the mayor of El Monte believes ICE should only go after criminals. That's why he and the city council passed a resolution a year ago vowing the city will not work with ICE on non-criminal cases.
We need to push back to let them know that they should focus on serious national security interests, not the poor person that's working at a car wash trying to make ends meet so he can take care of his family.
Protesters say they are already planning future demonstrations against ICE. For Annenberg Media in El Monte, I'm Aton Wallace.
An internal letter written by the LA Fire Department chief highlights increasing racial divisions within fire stations across the city. The letter made public this week was sent to firefighters last Friday. It specifically cites arguments between firefighters over national anthem protests by NFL players. Experts say the situation is a reflection of growing racial tensions nationwide.
He's the president of the United States and he holds that office. So yes, he's going to have an impact. So what you see happening in the fire department is happening in all public arenas. It's happening on our campuses. It's happening on your campus.
The incidents mentioned in the letter are currently being investigated by the department's Professional Standards Division.
I'm here with USG's next president and vice president for the 2018-2019 school year, President-elect Debbie Lee and Vice President-elect Blake Ackerman. Congratulations and welcome. So guys, how do you feel about clinching this pretty narrow victory?
I think for Blake and myself, we can definitely say that we're excited. We're absolutely elated, but I think yesterday's narrow win definitely reminded us that this isn't a position or two positions to be taken for granted. And so we understand that the real work starts now, and we're just really excited to get going on our way.
Awesome.
And we want to give hats off to Maya and Brianna for running such a successful campaign. It was definitely a tough win, but we're happy that we both went through it.
Speaking of the campaign, can you take us a little bit more into it and what you think made you guys stand out for the USC student body?
Yeah, so I think ultimately what it came down to was the fact that Debbie and I wanted to listen first. That was our motto throughout the entire election season, was just listen first, get to know as many students as possible. These are going to be our constituents, and they are our constituents now, which is awesome. So I think just listening first ultimately was our goal, and that was what we stuck to.
And I think definitely for Blake and myself as well, in addition to listening first, I think the feasibility of our platforms really made us stand out. We have a couple of projects already at hand that we've started working on, and today I've actually had the pleasure of sitting in a meeting with DPS officers and seeing how we can get students at the table, and so we're really excited to know that not only are our projects feasible, but some of the work has already begun, and we're just ready to continue moving forward with it.
Okay, incredible. And we're also Facebook Live right now. So for those of you who are watching us, please feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Back to you guys. So your platform, as you just said, did cover a lot of issues and a lot of ground. What do you guys plan to start on first?
I think to say that we have a priority of which we're going to start on is a little, it does a disservice to our platform because we care about all of our points equally. But I think in terms of feasibility wise, like I mentioned, there are a couple of projects that Blake and I individually have already started working on, and we're really excited to continue to get the ball rolling. I also know that there are a couple projects that are being handed down and initiatives of those sorts, and also initiatives that we have to start on our own. So I think we're just going to work in conjunction with all of them and see how we can get things rolling.
Can you maybe go a little more into detail about these personal projects?
Yeah, so there's a project that I'm working on currently. I'm sitting on a task force with Dean Varun Soni, who is our Dean of Crisis Intervention and Campus Wellness, as well as the Dean of Religious Life, and Dr. Eileen Rosenstein, who also works in the Office of Campus Wellness, and working with them to work on a first-year wellness course for all first-year students. That's freshmen, spring admits, and transfers. It'll hopefully be like an 8 to 10 week, 1-unit course that one day all Trojans will be taking.
Awesome. And what initiative from the past administration do you hope to continue?
So I think definitely just in relation to my meeting with DPS today, we want to formalize a system where we can have campus stakeholders of safety, so PHC, IFC leaders, and just different community leaders where we can bring all of them to the table and have open discussions about how we can improve tailgates and how we can improve overall safety on campus. So I think that's definitely a project that's going to be handed down. Also, just a couple of things to mention, Plan B vending machines are already in the works. And so we're trying to see how feasible that is in terms of our budget and seeing where student affairs and also the health center can play a role in this.
Wow, that's incredible. And last question for you guys, how do you plan to engage the students who voted for the other ticket?
I think definitely Blake and I are actually pretty excited to get to know those students. I think Blake and I really appreciate the new ideas that the other ticket had to bring, and we definitely want to not only listen to those students, but see how we can meet those needs and find middle ground to bring all students to the table.
And we appreciate those students for voting. I mean, the voter turnout was, I think, less than 25%. So the fact that they got out there and made their voices heard is something that we commend them for and hope that they continue to do so in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. And good luck settling into your new positions.
Thank you.
Thank you to our audience on Facebook Live. You can find more about USG election results at Annenberg Media on social. Back to you, Leslie.
A new house party law has been passed by LA City Council. We'll tell you about its impact. The unusually cold weather is having an effect on agriculture. We'll talk to an expert about the winter chill. And it's even colder in Pyeongchang. We'll give you a live update from the Winter Olympics.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. He took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Today, the Los Angeles City Council passed an ordinance to crack down on party houses. The measure is designed to limit loud parties by punishing hosts and homeowners who rent out their houses to others. The measure would expand the type of behavior that could result in a fine or a criminal charge for owners of these houses. Violators would face fines up to $8,000. They would also have to post a public notice about their violation for 30 days. The measure now goes to Mayor Garcetti's desk for approval.
Your Uber ride may get a little cheaper and a little faster, as long as you don't mind walking. Uber rolled out a new, more affordable rideshare option within the app called Uber Express Pool. Express Pool is a share ride that starts and ends with a short walk to a nearby corner, saving time for riders by avoiding those detours. The new program promises to be less expensive than Uber Pool. USC students taking Uber Express to LAX will save a couple bucks going from Pool to Express and potentially half their trip when going from Uber X to Express. It seems that just as LA was getting ready for summer, I was breaking out my winter parka again.
I know, same here. Southern California has seen a recent cold snap, but is it over? Let's check in with our weather anchor, Trevor.
Well, guys, you are right. We have seen a little bit of a cold snap recently, and that's because of those low pressure troughs moving through the area. And unfortunately, those pressure troughs are going to stay here for a little bit, but starting up maybe mid next week or so, we should see a little bit warmer temperatures. But if we take a look at our current conditions right now, it's 55 degrees outside, so still keeping those cool temperatures. You're going to want to have those jackets on when you're walking to class or walking home tonight. Now, if we take a look at tomorrow's forecast for the LA area, 29 degrees in Big Bear and 59 degrees in the Inland Empire. So again, cool temperatures, but there's not going to be any snow in Big Bear. However, if you're up in the San Gabriel Mountains, you might see up to 1 or 2 inches of snow. So maybe it's time to get out and try those Olympic skills. Now, if we take a look, 78 degrees in Thousand Oaks, 60 degrees along the coast in Malibu. So time to go to the beach? Probably not, unless you're down for some cool surfing. Now, if we take a look at our LA basin, it is 58 degrees at USC, 62 in Anaheim, 59 in Pasadena. So again, cool temperatures, really just staying high 50s, low 60s throughout the rest of tomorrow and the rest of the week. But let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. 61 degrees tomorrow. Pretty windy, so be aware of that. 61 degrees on Friday, but then it's going to start getting warm. If you take a look at the rest of the week, 66 on Saturday, and then upper 60s with lows in the upper 40s for the rest of next week. And then, as I said, it'll get a little bit warmer. Now, freezing temperatures swept much of California this past week, putting the Central Valley's lucrative crops at risk. The early blooms this season could die with morning temperatures in the mid-20s. I spoke with the San Joaquin Farm Bureau about what farmers do to help their crops.
So wind is one of the options. Irrigation, using sprinkler irrigation. The water's obviously warmer than the 30-something degrees that's outside here, so that sometimes can help in terms of keeping the temperatures in the orchards at a level that will not allow for damage.
The best thing for you to do if you see a cold weather warning is not only to bundle yourself up, but cover your outside plants as well, so neither of you freeze. But I'll tell you guys, it was so cold this morning, I thought it was going to hail. Did you see that hail in Beverly Hills on Monday?
No.
It was insane.
Really?
I was looking, it was just coming down like there was no tomorrow.
Well, do you have any plants?
I do not.
Talking all about yourself, what about your plants, Trev?
I do not have any plants, unfortunately, but yeah.
Okay, well, we're complaining about the chilly weather here in California, but it's much colder where our Olivia Sandusky is. She's live in Pyeongchang for the Winter Olympics. Olivia, what can we expect from Team USA today?
Yeah, thanks. It's about 20 degrees here in Pyeongchang, but we have a lot of exciting things planned today. You can see the Alpensia slopes behind me, and Lindsey Vonn took home a bronze medal there yesterday, helping the USA medal count. If we look at the medal count for USA overall compared to the last couple of Winter Olympics, you can see that they're down overall, down in the gold medal by about half, but that doesn't mean that the gold medals we've won here haven't been memorable. I've seen Chloe Kim at 17 years old win the gold in the half pipe. What an amazing moment that was. And Shaun White, too, established his icon here at the Winter Olympics with his gold medal performance. And today we have Canada versus USA in women's ice hockey. What a game that will be. Canada's won gold the last 4 years in this event, so it's going to be a big game for Team USA to see what they can do, improve themselves here on the ice. And we also have ladies big air. They jumped off of 160-foot ramps today. It's insane. It's a previous X game, and Jamie Anderson actually took home the silver medal in that for Team USA, so we're already helping the medal count. On the men's side today, we have the men's ski halfpipe, where they'll be skiing in a halfpipe today that they took home the qualifying first, second, and third yesterday. So we have a chance to sweep that medal podium. So it'll be exciting.
Thanks so much, Olivia. Well, Lauren, those were the winter sports in Pyeongchang. What can you tell us about sports here? Well, no winter sports here, but a USC basketball player did make a big announcement today. The USC women's basketball team is competing in their last 2 games of the regular season this week before heading north to the Pac-12s. We've even got some more updates from Pyeongchang. Sports are next.
You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home just in case. Why would you do that?
Probably okay isn't okay. Call a cab, a car, or a friend.
Good choice.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to savethefood.com.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to sports. Former USC basketball starter DeAnthony Melton has announced he will be leaving school to prepare for the NBA draft. Melton took to Twitter and Instagram to make his announcement, sharing that after much thought and consideration, we as a family have made the difficult decision for me to withdraw from school. He went on to thank the Trojan family, the university staff, as well as the men's basketball program and his teammates for their support as he moves on to hone his skills for the next level. He ended by saying, "I will always be a Trojan at heart." Melton's teammates as well as other USC athletes showed their support and wished him luck as he moves on to the next phase of his career. After Melton's stellar 2016-17 season in which he led the Pac-12 in steals, his absence has definitely been felt this season. This announcement doesn't come as a surprise. Melton has been held out from play for the season after questions about his relationship with former assistant coach Tony Bland, who's a target of a bribery and fraud investigation by the FBI, came to pass. Still, Melton is projected to be a possible first-round pick in the NBA draft. After defeating both Oregon and Oregon State at home, the Trojans now kick off their final road trip of the regular season. They take on the Colorado Buffaloes tonight at 7:30 p.m. The Trojans are still tied for second in the Pac-12 with UCLA, so there's no question they will need to come up with a win here before returning to Galen for their rematch against the Bruins. And despite losing Melton and starting big man Benny Boatwright due to injury, the Trojans have managed to have one of the most productive seasons in recent history. Starting 3-year team captain Jordan McLaughlin leads the Pac-12 in assists. Senior starter Elijah Stewart is one basket away from breaking the school record for three-point baskets scored, with 231 of them. USC is also the only Pac-12 team to rank in the top 4 in both scoring offense and defense. These stats speak for themselves and will hopefully lead to success for the Trojans in finishing out their season. Now over to correspondent Victoria Garrick with an update on the women's basketball team.
Thanks, Lauren. The USC women's basketball team will be saying goodbye to 3 seniors this weekend. Jordan Adams, Sadie Edwards, and Kristen Simon will play their last basketball game in the Galen Center ever this Saturday against Colorado. And I'm sure the team and staff do not want to say goodbye to these 3 women, all of whom are starting and averaging over 30 minutes per game. Simon leads the team, averaging 17.7 points a game. Edwards has completed 41 three-pointers on the year. and Adam tallies the most blocks on the team with 19. Talk about 3 players you don't want to see go. In their previous matchup against Colorado, the seniors led their team to a solid win, outscoring the Buffs 86-51, shooting over 50% from the floor in just the second half. The senior night celebration and final Galen showdown will begin at 1 o'clock this Saturday for these 3 outstanding players. Back to you, Lauren.
Thanks, Victoria. Now to close out sports, let's head back to Pyeongchang, almost 6,000 miles away, to get some hockey updates from our sports correspondent reporting there.
Sam Dodge here in Gangneung, South Korea, home of hockey for the 2018 Winter Olympics. We got the Russians just finishing up practice right behind us. Check that. They're the Olympians associated with Russia. After a 2-year statewide doping scandal, they were officially forced to redesignate their name, and their opponents tonight are the Norwegians. The NHL, also a storyline in this wild and wacky Olympic tournament. No NHL contracted players are allowed to be here, so the Canadians and Americans are forced to play, mostly minor league players and recently retired players.
We'll just have to wait and see how many more medals Team USA can pull out in these last 5 days of the Winter Olympics.
Thank you so much, Lauren. And students in Florida make a gesture of support for the school shooting victims in Parkland.
We'll take you there next.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
In Coral Springs, Florida, only 4 miles from Parkland, hundreds of high school students walked out of class to honor the shooting victims and protest gun violence in America. The students gathered to form a giant heart in the middle of the football field at Coral Springs High School to show solidarity with Parkland. Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Leslie Ambris.
And I'm Taylor Edgell. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. And from everyone here in the studio, we want to wish our incredible executive producer, Sam Burgum, a very happy 22nd birthday. We love you, Sam.
Love you. Happy
Have a good night,
birthday.
everyone.